The galaxy had changed forever. What began as whispers and rumors of human fleets had become undeniable reality. Humans were no longer underestimated. Alien civilizations who once scoffed at the idea of human influence now looked upon them with cautious respect, fear, and, in some cases, admiration. Captain Elena Royce stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the stars stretching endlessly before her. Behind her, the fleet moved in perfect formation, ready for any challenge, yet calm in their precision. They had not come to conquer. They had come to demonstrate that humanity was capable of more than any species had imagined. "Captain," Lieutenant Kieran said, breaking the silence, "the Council representatives have requested a meeting. They want to discuss terms, alliances, and recognition." Elena turned slowly, a faint smile on her face. "Let them come. They will learn that humans do not seek domination. We seek understanding, cooperation, and preparedness. That is our strength." The alien fleets had learned hard lessons. Even the largest armadas could not predict human tactics. Numbers and firepower alone were not enough. The humans had demonstrated creativity, courage, and adaptability in ways no species had thought possible. Every engagement, every repair, every act of assistance had built a reputation that spread across the stars. On board the flagship of one alien fleet, Admiral Vesh scowled. His pride had been bruised repeatedly, yet he could not deny the truth. "We were foolish," he muttered. "We thought strength alone would ensure victory. We thought humans were insignificant. We were wrong, terribly wrong." Kale, standing quietly beside him, nodded. "We underestimated them. Not their weapons, not their ships, not their numbers. We underestimated their ingenuity, their ability to adapt, to think differently, to lead and inspire. That is what makes them unstoppable." Across countless systems, humans had begun to demonstrate a different kind of strength. On planets recovering from war, human crews repaired cities, restored energy grids, and trained local populations in new techniques of efficiency and safety. Where once there had been chaos, order began to emerge. Aliens observed, often in awe. They had expected humans to strike aggressively, to conquer, to take what they wanted by force. Instead, humans acted as guides and teachers. They repaired what was broken, improved what was flawed, and protected those who could not defend themselves. Strength, they realized, was more than weapons. It was intelligence, courage, teamwork, and determination. In a distant system, a group of alien scholars gathered to study human methods. "Look at this," one said, pointing to holographic data. "They repaired the energy core of the city in days, not months. They taught the engineers to optimize it beyond our own designs. And yet they did it without demanding control. It is incredible." Another scholar shook his head. "They fight differently. They adapt faster than any species I have studied. Their strength is not in their fleet alone. It is in their minds and their ability to act as one." Kale, observing the discussions from his scout ship, realized that the galaxy was learning a lesson no one had anticipated. Humans were not just a species. They were an example of what determination, intelligence, and courage could achieve. Meanwhile, Elena's fleet moved toward a strategic star cluster, where several alien leaders had gathered to negotiate terms. The humans did not approach with demands. They approached with presence. Ships glided into orbit with precision, signaling both power and restraint. The alien council waited tensely. This was the species they had once dismissed, now standing before them as equals in strategy and capability. Supreme Chancellor Vryn spoke first, her voice cautious. "Humans, you have changed our understanding of what is possible. Your fleet, your strategies, your methods are unlike anything we have seen. Why have you come?" Elena stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. "We have come to show that humanity is capable. We have come to demonstrate that being underestimated does not mean weakness. We do not seek to conquer, only to ensure that the galaxy understands the value of intelligence, courage, and cooperation. We are here to teach, to protect, and to inspire. That is our goal." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had expected threats, demands, or aggression. Instead, they were met with calm confidence and purpose. Slowly, admiration began to replace fear. In the following days, humans assisted in rebuilding trade routes, repairing damaged fleets, and teaching alien populations new techniques in technology and strategy. Formerly hostile planets began to cooperate, forming alliances with humans as mediators and guides. Across the galaxy, humans became symbols of ingenuity, bravery, and resilience. Even the most hardened military officers began to acknowledge a simple truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. They could adapt to any situation, overcome impossible odds, and inspire cooperation across species. Where others saw weakness, humans revealed strength. Where others saw danger, humans revealed opportunity. Kale observed quietly from his scout ship. He had once feared the arrival of humans. Now he understood their true value. They are not only powerful, he said softly. They are an example. The galaxy will never be the same. Elena, watching the stars, felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors, but as innovators, protectors, and teachers. They had demonstrated the strength of mind, heart, and courage. They had shown that the underestimated could rise to reshape entire systems. Her thoughts were interrupted by Lieutenant Kieran. Captain, reports indicate that former hostile fleets are beginning to request guidance, assistance, and alliances. They respect us now. Some are even asking to learn our methods, Elena nodded. Good, let them learn. Respect is earned through action, not fear. And the galaxy must understand that humans do not fight like anyone else. We do not rely solely on weapons or numbers. We rely on intelligence, courage, adaptability, and the will to never give up. As humans worked alongside aliens, the galaxy began to embrace a new era. Technology advanced faster, strategies evolved, and civilizations once divided began to cooperate. Trade, communication, and exploration flourished. And everywhere, humans were remembered as the species that had arrived quietly, underestimated by all, and then shown the true meaning of strength. Even Admiral Vesh, once a skeptic, admitted privately to Kale, "We have been fools. We fought them with arrogance and pride, thinking we knew everything. We learned too late. Humans are exceptional. We must adjust or we will fall behind." Kyle nodded. They are exceptional not because they are stronger than us, but because they are smarter, braver, and willing to adapt. That is a lesson the galaxy will never forget. On board the Resolute, Elena addressed her crew one final time before they moved toward new sectors. The galaxy has seen what humans are capable of, but our work is never done. Every system we visit, every civilization we interact with, we show the same lesson. Strength is not just power, it is intelligence, courage, teamwork, and determination. That is what humanity brings. That is our place in the galaxy. Her crew listened in silence, feeling the weight of their responsibility. They were not just soldiers or explorers. They were representatives of a species that had rewritten the rules of engagement, cooperation, and survival. As the fleet prepared to move toward the next star system, humans looked out at the galaxy with quiet confidence. The war that many believed had ended was only the beginning of a new era. An era in which humans would be respected, studied, and remembered. And in that moment, across countless planets and star systems, the truth became clear. Humanity had arrived. They were not to be underestimated. They were not only survivors, they were teachers, leaders, and pioneers. The galaxy had seen the beginning of human influence, and it would never forget it. Captain Elena stood at the observation deck one last time, looking at the stars. "This is only the start," she said softly. "The galaxy has seen what humans can do, but it has yet to see what we are truly capable of. And when it does, it will understand that humanity is unstoppable." And with that, the fleet moved forward, ready to face new challenges, help new worlds, and continue teaching the galaxy the lessons that humans had always known. Courage, intelligence, adaptability, and determination were the true measures of strength. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long. That mistake would never happen again. The stars above Earth shone like scattered diamonds on black velvet. Humanity had long looked at them with curiosity, dreaming of what lay beyond. Now, after decades of exploration, Earth had made friends among those distant points of light, the Valoran. The Valorans were tall, graceful beings with pale, shimmering skin and eyes that glowed faintly like molten silver. They were peaceful, wise, and brilliant in science. Their cities floated above lush, vibrant worlds, powered by energy sources that humans had only begun to understand. Earth's alliance with the Valoran had changed everything. Humans had learned new ways to harness energy, create sustainable cities, and even heal diseases that once seemed impossible to cure. The two races shared knowledge freely, And in turn, humanity had offered the Valorans strength in numbers and creativity in problem-solving. Together, they explored new planets, built trade networks, and dreamt of a galaxy where peace could flourish. Captain Arya Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth's flagship, the Horizon. The ship hovered above the atmosphere of Valoran Prime, their shared capital world. Arya had seen many stars in her life, but nothing compared to the sight of the Valoran cities. Floating spires rose from crystalline lakes, their lights dancing across the water. Bridges of pure energy connected towers that reached toward the sky. She felt a deep sense of awe and pride. This was what humanity had fought for. Not just survival, but a place among the stars, side by side with allies who valued life as much as they did. Captain Chen, called Lieutenant Kieran, her communications officer, snapping her out of her thoughts. "We're receiving a transmission from the Central Council of Valoran Prime." Arya straightened. On screen, the view shifted, showing High Counselor Lyran, the leader of Valoran Prime. His normally calm and graceful features were drawn with worry. "Captain Chen," he said, voice trembling slightly. "We have received troubling news. Scouts report a fleet approaching our outer colonies. They are not Valoran. They are hostile." Arya felt a chill. "Do we know who they are?" Lyran shook his head. "No identification. Their ships are fast and their technology is unfamiliar. Our forces have tried to communicate, but there has been no response. Only destruction." "What kind of destruction?" Arya asked, dread building in her chest. "The colonies. They are falling. Entire cities wiped out before our eyes. We fear the worst, Captain. We need help." Arya clenched her fists. "We will not let this happen." Horizon, full speed to the colonies. "Prepare defensive formations." But even as orders were given, the horror unfolded on their screens. Live feeds from Valoran outposts showed flames consuming the once beautiful cities. Ships were torn apart by weapons unlike anything the humans or Valorans had seen. Thousands of civilians, innocent beings who had lived peaceful lives, were killed in moments. The speed and ferocity of the attack left no time for evacuation. Arya's voice trembled as she watched. This is genocide." Lyran nodded silently, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "They are ruthless, and they will not stop here. We fear that they intend to destroy everything, including our allies, and possibly your homeworld, Captain." The bridge of Horizon fell into a tense silence. Every officer and crew member felt the weight of the news. Humanity had always known that exploring the stars came with dangers, but this was unlike anything they had imagined. It was calculated, merciless, and fast. Kieran broke the silence. "Captain, we can try to intercept the fleet. Our ships may not be as fast as theirs, but we can at least cover the evacuations and hold them off." Arya's mind raced. She knew every decision she made now could mean life or death for thousands of beings. "Prepare all defensive measures," she said firmly. "Send every available ship to cover the colonies. And alert Earth. This is an attack on our allies and we cannot ignore it." As orders were sent, Arya stood alone at the observation deck once more, staring at the flames engulfing the colonies. She thought of the Valoran children playing in the crystal parks, the scientists working tirelessly to discover new forms of energy, the families walking through the glowing gardens of their cities, all gone. The human fleet arrived just in time to witness the final strikes. Even though they engaged the enemy, it was clear the attackers had planned for resistance. Their weapons were devastatingly precise, their tactics terrifyingly efficient. Despite humanity's courage and skill, the attackers retreated after annihilating the colonies, leaving nothing but smoldering ruins. Arya could barely breathe. She turned to Kieran. We were too late." Kieran's voice was firm, even in sorrow. "No, Captain. We will not be too late next time. They will pay for this. For every life they destroyed, humanity will remember." High Counselor Lyran appeared again on the screen, his expression now one of deep sorrow but also determination. "Captain Chen, Earth has been our closest allies, our brothers and sisters in this galaxy. We have lost much, but we ask that you do not let our deaths be in vain. Find them, stop them, protect the galaxy." Arya felt a fire ignite inside her. "We will, Counselor. I swear it. Whoever did this will answer for every life they have taken." As Horizon and the remaining Valoran ships retreated from the destroyed colonies, humanity faced a harsh reality. The enemy was not only strong but ruthless, and they had no fear of annihilation. Yet within that fear a spark of hope grew. Humanity had faced extinction on their own planet before. They had survived plagues, wars, and disasters. They were clever, persistent, and united. And now, they would channel all of that into one purpose: justice. Back on Earth, news of the tragedy reached every corner of the planet. Crowds gathered in city squares, watching the transmissions of destroyed Valorant cities. Humanity had always known that space exploration could bring danger, but seeing the suffering of innocent beings stirred emotions unlike ever before. Governments convened emergency sessions. Scientists worked around the clock to adapt technology from the surviving Valorant equipment, and engineers began designing new ships capable of faster travel and more powerful defense systems. In quiet homes, families discussed the courage of their allies and the responsibility humans now bore. Children who once dreamed of exploring space now dreamed of protecting it. Humanity had a mission, not just survival but justice for those who could not fight for themselves. Arya Chen trained tirelessly with her crew. They ran simulations, studied enemy tactics, and prepared for the battles to come. She knew that revenge alone could not win wars. Strategy, intelligence, and courage would be needed. She pushed herself, ensuring every officer under her command was ready for the trials ahead. Meanwhile, the surviving Valorant refugees were welcomed on Earth. Though their numbers were few, their knowledge and experience became invaluable. Scientists studied their technology, pilots learned from their combat expertise, and diplomats helped strengthen alliances with other alien civilizations who were watching these events with concern. Even in the darkest hours, humanity's spirit could not be broken. Arya walked through the corridors of Horizon, watching her crew work tirelessly. Engineers adjusted weapon systems, communication officers coordinated with Earth and Valorant forces, and medics cared for the wounded. Each person carried a sense of purpose stronger than fear. One night, as Arya gazed out at the stars from her quarters, she whispered to herself, "You took our friends, but you will not take justice. Humanity will rise, and we will not stop until the galaxy knows that those who harm the innocent will face the consequences." The fire in her heart mirrored the determination of all those aboard Horizon. All those back on Earth and all those Valorant survivors. It was a fire that no enemy could extinguish. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's courage before, but what was coming now would show them the full power of human resolve. The first part of this story closed with a clear understanding. The battle for justice had begun, and humanity, united with their fallen allies' memories, would never falter. The stars no longer seemed distant or peaceful. They were a battlefield waiting for those who dared to challenge the unstoppable spirit of Earth. And so, with grief, determination, and unshakable courage, humanity took its first steps toward a galaxy-wide struggle that would define their place among the stars. The enemy had struck first, but Earth would strike back, stronger, smarter, and unstoppable. Earth had changed. The planet that once looked outward with curiosity now looked outward with purpose and determination. Humanity's grief over the Valorant colonies lost in the sudden, ruthless attack had transformed into resolve. The people of Earth understood that they could no longer remain passive spectators in the galaxy. If they wanted peace, they would have to fight for it. Captain Arya Chen stood on the newly expanded bridge of Horizon 2, a larger, faster, and more heavily armed flagship designed with lessons learned from the tragedy. Her eyes scanned the star charts, marking the last known movements of the mysterious attackers. "We know they won't stop here," she said to her officers. "They strike quickly, destroy without warning, and vanish. We have to be faster, smarter, stronger." Lieutenant Kieran, now head of strategic communications, nodded. "Captain, our intelligence teams have begun analyzing the attack patterns. There are repeating formations, weapon signatures, even energy traces that could give us clues. We can predict some of their next moves." Arya's gaze hardened. "Good, I want all teams working on full alert. Every sensor, every ship, every pilot ready. If they appear again, we strike before they can vanish." On Earth, the response was just as swift. Scientists worked day and night, analyzing the remnants of Valorant technology left behind in the wreckage of the destroyed colonies. Engineers studied their energy shields, propulsion systems, and defensive designs, learning what could be replicated, improved, and adapted for human use. Even children contributed, solving complex problems in mathematics and physics competitions inspired by Valorant science. The human fleet expanded rapidly. Shipyards that once produced simple exploration vessels now churned out advanced warships, armed with energy cannons, missile arrays, and adaptive shields. Training centers for pilots and tacticians were established in orbiting stations. Humans learned to navigate asteroid fields at high speed, maneuver through plasma storms, and conduct coordinated attacks in deep space. Despite the urgency, humanity's leaders were careful. They knew that fighting without strategy could be just as deadly as doing nothing. Earth formed an interstellar council, including surviving Valoran diplomats to coordinate defense and intelligence efforts. They reached out to neighboring alien civilizations, offering aid and forming alliances, ensuring that humanity was never alone in the fight against this unknown enemy. Back on Horizon 2, Arya oversaw the first full-scale simulation of a space battle against the enemy's tactics. Drones mimicked the attackers' maneuvers, weaving through asteroid belts and striking with precision energy blasts. Human pilots darted between them, testing new evasive techniques and attack patterns. Every move, every decision was studied and improved upon. "Your reflexes have improved," Arya said to one young pilot, Lieutenant Soren. "But remember, speed alone will not win this fight. Observation, patience, and strategy, those are our real weapons." Soren nodded. "Yes, Captain. I understand. We'll be ready." In addition to military training, Earth also focused on technological innovation. Scientists worked to adapt Valoran energy cores into human ships, creating faster engines and more efficient power systems. Engineers designed energy shields that could absorb and redirect enemy attacks. AI systems were integrated into combat strategies, analyzing thousands of scenarios in seconds and offering tactical recommendations. Humanity's ingenuity was transforming grief into strength, fear into preparation. Meanwhile, the surviving Valoran refugees began sharing stories of their people's history, culture, and most importantly, combat experience. Their accounts revealed the nature of the attackers, a species that thrived on swift destruction, avoiding prolonged battles and leaving no witnesses. Humanity realized that to stop them, it was not enough to match their strength. Humans had to outthink them. As weeks turned into months, the first Earth Valoran task force was ready. The fleet consisted of battle cruisers, scout ships, and advanced stealth vessels. Every crew member had trained extensively and morale was high. Even the civilians who had helped in research and design felt a part of the mission. Humanity was united, driven by the memory of those lost and the hope of preventing further tragedy. Captain Arya called a final briefing before the fleet's departure. "We are no longer reacting. We are taking the initiative," she said, her voice steady but filled with determination. "The enemy thinks they can strike without consequence. They think we are slow, weak, or afraid. They are wrong. We are ready, and we will bring justice. Not revenge born of hate, but justice for those who cannot fight for themselves." Lieutenant Kieran added, "Sensors indicate an anomaly in a distant system. Preliminary scans suggest it could be the enemy's supply network. It's heavily guarded, but if we strike carefully, we can disrupt their operations and learn more about their fleet." Arya nodded. "Then that is our first mission. Prepare for departure." As the fleet moved through the stars, humanity's resolve was tested in small but significant ways. One scout ship navigating through a dense asteroid field was attacked by enemy drones. Though the scout had no weapons to match them directly, the crew used quick thinking and a clever diversion, luring the drones into a gravity trap created by the nearby asteroid. The drones were destroyed without human loss. "These are the lessons we need," Arya said after reviewing the incident. "The enemy will not fight fair. We must use every advantage we have and then find ways to create more." Meanwhile, back on Earth, the media broadcast updates about the fleet's progress. Citizens followed every move, cheering successes and mourning losses. Children designed models of the ships inspired by the courage of their pilots. Artists painted murals honoring the Valoran, and musicians composed songs about the unity of Earth and Valoran alike. Humanity was not just preparing for war, they were preparing for a statement. The galaxy would see what humans could achieve when they fought for justice and honor. Within the fleet, bonds formed between humans and surviving Valoran officers. Commander Lyran's second-in-command, a Valoran named Talion, shared stories of ancient battles and tactics, teaching humans to anticipate the enemy's moves. Human officers, in turn, taught the Valoran how to adapt to new technology and improvisation. Together, they created a synergy that neither species could have achieved alone. Despite the focus on strategy and training, the human fleet never lost sight of their purpose. Pilots, engineers, and medics alike carried the memory of those lost. Before each mission, they observed a moment of silence, lighting a small holographic flame in remembrance of the Valoran colonies. These rituals reminded them that their fight was not about hatred. It was about protecting life and standing for justice. Months of preparation culminated in the fleet reaching the suspected enemy supply system. As they approached, sensors revealed a network of energy gates and defensive turrets. It was clear the enemy had anticipated a response. But humanity was ready. Arya had studied the enemy's tactics carefully and developed a plan that combined stealth, strategy, and human unpredictability. "Remember," she told her officers, "this is our first strike. We are not just testing weapons or defenses. We are proving that humanity cannot be intimidated. Every action we take must be precise, coordinated, and intelligent. We strike for the Valoran, for Earth, and for every being that cannot defend themselves." The fleet moved into position, their engines quiet, shields cloaked, and drones deployed for reconnaissance. The enemy's sensors picked up some of the fleet's movements, but not enough to predict the full plan. Humanity's combination of technology, strategy, and courage was about to be tested for the first time in battle. As the first scouts neared the enemy's outer defenses, a sense of anticipation filled the fleet. This was not just a battle. It was the start of humanity's transformation into a force respected across the galaxy. Every pilot, every crew member, every scientist knew that failure was not an option. The memory of the Valoran colonies, the dedication of their own species, and the hope for a better galaxy fueled their determination. Captain Arya looked at the stars ahead. "We may be outnumbered and the enemy may be stronger in some ways, but we are humans. We adapt, we think, we endure, and we will not be defeated." The fleet advanced into the unknown, ready to face danger, to learn, and to fight. Humanity had awakened, not as a reactive species, but as a force capable of standing against the worst the galaxy could offer. The first strike was only the beginning, and the story of Earth's unstoppable resolve was about to unfold. The enemy supply system loomed ahead like a fortress in the darkness of space. Its sprawling network of energy gates and turrets stretched across asteroid fields and barren moons. Captain Arya Chen observed the formation from the bridge of Horizon 2. Every sensor pinged with activity, revealing that the attackers had anticipated a strike. Yet Arya remained calm. She had studied their tactics for months, and she knew humanity's greatest strength was not sheer power. It was ingenuity. "Lieutenant Kieran," Arya said, "deploy the scout drones. Map the outer defenses. We need a clear path before we commit the fleet." "Yes, Captain," Kieran replied, fingers flying across the console. Tiny drones launched from the hull, weaving through the asteroid belts, avoiding detection while recording the enemy's movements. Streams of data flowed into the ship's computers, analyzed in real time. The enemy forces were efficient and precise. Automated turrets powered by strange energy cores rotated in unison, ready to fire at any detected intruder. Patrolling ships moved in patterns designed to predict and intercept attackers. It was a trap, but Arya saw opportunity within it. "Captain," Kieran said, "we have identified a gap in their outer perimeter. It's small, but if we coordinate the fleet, we can infiltrate without triggering a full alert." Arya nodded. "Good. Prepare the diversion fleet. Let them focus on the decoys while our main strike group moves through the gap." The diversion fleet consisted of smaller ships equipped with energy projectors and stealth technology. They would simulate a direct assault, drawing the enemy's attention while the main fleet slipped past undetected. "Let's make them think they are in control," Arya said quietly, a determined glint in her eyes. As the diversion fleet advanced, the enemy responded exactly as predicted. Turrets swiveled, automated fighters launched from hidden hangars, and energy shields flared. Meanwhile, Horizon 2 and the main fleet moved silently through the mapped gap, their shields cloaked and engines minimized to reduce detection. It was a tense journey. A single miscalculation could trigger alarms and endanger the entire mission. Every officer held their breath as they navigated between asteroids and debris, moving with precision and patience. Then came the first challenge. One of the enemy patrol ships appeared ahead, its sensors glowing like the eyes of a predator. The ship's weapons locked onto the humans, preparing to fire. "Hold steady," Arya commanded. "We wait for the right moment." Lieutenant Soren, piloting one of the lead ships, maneuvered with skill and courage. Using the asteroid's shadow, he closed in on the patrol ship, avoiding its energy locks. At the precise moment, Soren's ship fired an electromagnetic pulse, disabling the patrol ship's sensors and weapons temporarily. The enemy vessel spun out of control, colliding with a nearby asteroid. "Excellent work, Lieutenant," Arya said. Relief and pride flickered across her face. "Proceed." The fleet advanced further into the enemy system. The energy gates of the main supply hub stretched across a barren moon, guarded by turrets and patrols. Intelligence suggested that destroying this hub would disrupt the enemy's operations for months, giving humanity a crucial advantage. "Prepare for engagement," Arya ordered. "Target the supply hub and disable their defenses. Remember, we are here to gather information and weaken them, not to be reckless. Precision is key." The fleet split into two groups. One attacked the outer turrets with energy blasts designed to disable rather than destroy, while the other focused on infiltrating the core of the hub. The battle had begun. The outer defenses reacted quickly. Turrets fired in waves, creating a dangerous web of energy. Automated drones swarmed toward the attacking ships. But humanity's fleet moved with coordination and ingenuity. Ships used asteroid cover, decoys, and timing to avoid destruction. The pilots displayed remarkable skill, dodging and weaving through the chaos while maintaining formation. Arya watched closely as the fleet executed the plan. "Focus fire on the energy nodes," she instructed. "Take down their shields first. Then the core." Even with careful planning, the enemy was deadly. One turret, hidden behind a massive asteroid, fired an unexpected energy beam that struck a support vessel, causing damage to its hull. Engineers worked quickly, sealing breaches and stabilizing the ship. The crew refused to panic. They had trained for this, and each obstacle strengthened their resolve. Meanwhile, the infiltration team reached the supply hub's core. The hub's interior was a maze of corridors and chambers filled with alien machinery. Human and Valoran engineers worked together, analyzing the systems, identifying power sources, and finding vulnerabilities. "This is incredible technology," said Valoran officer Talion, awe in his voice. "But it is not perfect. We can exploit these weaknesses," Arya nodded. "Then we do exactly that. Prepare the energy disruptors." Disruptors were advanced devices designed to overload energy nodes without causing unnecessary destruction. Inserting them required precision and courage. As the engineers worked, enemy patrol drones appeared, trying to intercept them. Human and Valoran pilots coordinated, drawing the drones away while the engineers completed their task. With a final command, Arya activated the disruptors. Energy nodes overloaded, sending a shockwave through the hub's systems. Turrets and defense mechanisms failed, and the core's power fluctuated dangerously. The enemy supply hub was crippled, unable to function for weeks, possibly months. The fleet pulled back, avoiding remaining patrols and emerging once again into the open space. Though victorious, they had learned valuable lessons. The enemy was fast, clever, and unpredictable. Humanity could not underestimate them, but they had proven something critical. They could fight back and succeed against a superior foe through intelligence, courage, and teamwork. Back on Horizon 2, Arya addressed her officers. "Today we struck the first blow for justice. We have shown the enemy that humanity does not falter. We adapt, we think, we endure. But this is only the beginning. They will regroup, and the next battle will be even more difficult. We must continue to grow, to learn, and to prepare." Even in the aftermath of battle, the human crew found moments of reflection. They remembered the Valoran colonies lost, the civilians who had perished, and the courage it took to face the unknown. Each victory, though small, was a step toward justice and toward honoring those who had been taken from them. As the fleet returned to a safe orbit, Earth received reports of the mission's success. Citizens celebrated not with reckless joy but with respect for the bravery displayed. Children looked up at the stars with wonder, inspired by the pilots who had risked everything to protect life and fight for justice. Captain Arya allowed herself a brief moment alone on the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before her, and she thought of the Valoran colonies now gone, and of the enemies still out there. She whispered quietly, "We have taken the first step. We will not stop until justice is done." Lieutenant Kieran joined her silently. "The fleet did well today, but we've only seen a fraction of their strength. They will come back stronger, and we must be ready." Arya nodded. "We will be. We will study, We will train, and we will strike again. For the Valorant, for Earth, for all who cannot defend themselves. In the coming days, the intelligence gathered from the first strike revealed more about the enemy. Their fleet was vast, their war machines advanced, but they were not invincible. Human ingenuity had found cracks in their armor, weaknesses that could be exploited, and with every step humanity learned more about how to fight not just with weapons, but with strategy, courage, and creativity. The first strike was a victory, but it was also a warning. The enemy would not stop, and neither would humanity. From the ashes of tragedy, a force of unparalleled resolve had arisen, a force that would not rest, a force that would not be defeated, a force that the galaxy would soon learn to respect and fear in equal measure. As Horizon 2 sailed through the stars, Captain Arya Chen looked forward to the battles ahead. She knew the fight would be long and dangerous, but humanity had awakened. The first strike had proven it. They could stand against any foe, adapt to any challenge, and fight with a heart that was truly unstoppable. And so, humanity's journey into the heart of conflict continued, guided by courage, intelligence, and the unbreakable spirit that defined them. The stars were no longer just distant lights. They were a battleground where Earth would prove once and for all that when humans fight for justice, nothing can hold them back. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, silent witnesses to the preparations of humanity's fleet. After the first strike against the enemy supply hub, Captain Arya Chen and her crew had gained crucial knowledge about their foes. But the intelligence gathered hinted at a far greater danger, a massive armada, hidden deep within a distant star system, preparing to unleash destruction across the galaxy. "This is unlike anything we've faced before," Lieutenant Kieran said, studying the holographic map in the command room of Horizon 2. "Their fleet is concentrated in a single system. If they complete their preparations, entire worlds could fall in moments." Arya nodded grimly. "Then we cannot wait. We have the advantage of knowledge, speed, and ingenuity. We strike before they are ready, but carefully. Every step must be precise." The fleet moved into the outer reaches of the distant system. The enemy armada was vast, stretching across orbital paths and asteroid belts. Their ships bristled with weapons and shields, while massive energy generators hinted at the construction of an enormous war machine. "Scans suggest it's more than a weapon," Talion, the Valorant officer, explained. "It could destroy entire colonies at once. We must stop it before it is fully operational." Arya clenched her fists. "We will, but first we need a plan. A direct assault will be suicide. We must combine stealth, diversion, and precise strikes. Humanity does not have the numbers, but we have what they lack: unpredictability." The fleet divided into two groups, a diversionary force to lure attention and a strike team to infiltrate the heart of the enemy system. Human engineers worked tirelessly to modify stealth ships, drones, and adaptive shields. Valorant officers shared knowledge of energy manipulation and fleet coordination. Together, they created strategies that relied on intelligence and creativity rather than sheer force. The diversionary fleet engaged first. Bright energy blasts lit up the dark void as human ships simulated a frontal assault, drawing the enemy's patrols and automated defenses away from the core of the system. Meanwhile, the strike team advanced silently, cloaked and careful, threading through asteroid belts and hidden corridors. As they approached the enemy's central armada, unexpected challenges arose. Automated defense platforms activated faster than predicted, and patrol ships emerged from concealed bays. One patrol detected a stealth vessel and fired energy pulses that threatened to disable it. "Evasive maneuvers now," Arya commanded. Pilots twisted and turned their ships, using asteroid cover and decoys to evade the pulses. Human ingenuity shone as drones created holographic images of the fleet, confusing the enemy's sensors. The stealth ship slipped past undetected, closer to the heart of the armada. Inside the strike team, engineers worked feverishly to deploy energy disruptors. These devices were designed to overload the enemy's power cores without destroying the surrounding structure, a delicate balance requiring precision under pressure. "Almost there," whispered Valorant engineer Talion, hands steady as he guided the device into a critical node. Just a few more seconds. A sudden alarm rang out. Enemy drones had detected part of the team. They were closing in, moving fast, firing with lethal precision. Human pilots responded immediately, coordinating maneuvers that forced the drones into asteroid fields. Some drones collided with debris, others were lured into the fleet's energy nets. "Now deploy the disruptors," Arya shouted. Engineers activated the devices, sending pulses of energy through the Armada's power grid. Turrets shut down, shields flickered, and generators overloaded. The Armada, once seemingly invincible, showed cracks in its defenses, yet the enemy responded quickly. Massive ships separated from the main formation, moving to contain the intrusion. The strike team faced a choice: retreat and risk the mission failing, or push forward at great danger. Arya's decision was swift. "We go forward. Every second counts. Focus on the core. Protect the disruptors at all costs." The human Valorant team pressed on, dodging heavy fire while maintaining coordination. Energy shields absorbed some attacks, while innovative maneuvers allowed ships to flank larger enemy vessels. Human creativity and flexibility proved superior to rigid tactics. Meanwhile, the diversionary fleet continued to occupy the enemy's attention. Bright flashes and explosions lit the darkness, convincing the enemy that the main attack was occurring elsewhere. Yet every maneuver was precise, designed not for destruction but for distraction. Inside the core of the Armada, the strike team reached the control hub. Rows of alien machinery hummed with dangerous energy. Here, humanity's intelligence and improvisation became critical. Engineers and Valorant technicians worked together, mapping energy flows, finding weak points, and inserting disruptors at precise locations. Suddenly, a patrol drone slipped past defenses, heading directly for the hub. Human pilots acted instinctively. They formed a protective shield around the engineers, using smaller ships as living barriers and energy pulses to redirect the drone's path. The drone crashed into a nearby satellite array, leaving the team unharmed. "Focus, everyone," Arya yelled. "Almost there." Finally, the disruptors activated fully. A wave of controlled energy pulses swept through the enemy Armada's power systems. Shields collapsed, engines flickered, and massive ships began to drift without control. The Armada, feared for its overwhelming strength, had been disabled, temporarily but decisively. Arya allowed herself a brief moment of relief. "It worked," she said. "We've disrupted their plans, but they will recover. We must withdraw before reinforcements arrive." The fleet executed a calculated retreat. Human ships and Valorant allies moved through hidden paths, using asteroid cover and sensor jammers to evade pursuing enemy vessels. The distraction worked perfectly. The enemy was confused, their coordination broken, allowing the fleet to escape intact. Back on Horizon 2, Arya convened a meeting with her officers. "This mission proves something important," she said. "The enemy may have numbers, power, and technology, but we have creativity, coordination, and determination. Every weakness we uncover is a step toward victory. And every life we protect strengthens our resolve." Valorant Officer Talion added, "You have shown humanity's strength. We may have survived alone for centuries, but together, we are unstoppable." The Armada underestimated the power of a united force guided by courage and intelligence. The fleet returned to a safe orbit to analyze the data from the strike. Engineers studied the disrupted power systems, identifying ways to exploit weaknesses in future encounters. Pilots reviewed tactical maneuvers, improving strategies for evasion and attack. Every individual aboard the ships contributed to the learning process, embodying the human spirit of growth and perseverance. Meanwhile, Earth celebrated the news of the successful infiltration and disruption of the enemy Armada. Citizens did not rejoice carelessly. They honored the bravery of those who risked everything and acknowledged the losses still to come. Schools held lessons on the fleet's ingenuity, inspiring young minds to think critically, act bravely, and contribute to humanity's future in space. Even as humanity celebrated a small victory, Captain Arya knew the larger battle was still ahead. The enemy Armada was vast and resilient. They would regroup, repair their systems, and return stronger. Humanity's response would have to be just as relentless. In the quiet moments aboard Horizon 2, Arya walked the observation deck, staring at the distant stars where the enemy Armada lurked. She thought of the Valorant colonies lost, the bravery of her crew, and the growing unity between humans and Valorant survivors. She whispered to herself, "They think they are unstoppable, but they have never faced the full strength of human courage, creativity, and resolve. We will rise and we will protect every life we can." Lieutenant Kieran joined her silently, looking at the distant points of light where danger still waited. "The next challenge will be harder," he said. Arya nodded. "Yes, but we've learned that we can face it." We've proven that brains, courage, and unity can overcome even overwhelming odds. Humanity is not just surviving. Humanity is rising. The fleet's journey continued, moving through uncharted territories and dangerous space, always vigilant, always learning. Every mission, every encounter, and every victory reinforced the lesson that the human spirit, combined with ingenuity and courage, was a force to be reckoned with. The stars no longer seemed distant or neutral. They were a stage for humanity's strength, a place where ingenuity met courage, and where determination could tip the balance against even the most powerful foes. The enemy had built a massive armada, but they had not counted on the resourcefulness, adaptability, and unwavering spirit of humanity. And so, the story moved forward. Humanity had risen against a formidable foe and struck a decisive blow to the enemy's plans. Yet the war was far from over. The coming battles would test every skill, every strategy, and every ounce of courage that Earth could muster. But humanity had learned a vital truth. When humans fight for justice, unity, and survival, they can challenge even the most terrifying threats in the galaxy and emerge victorious. Captain Arya Chen stood once more at the observation deck, watching the stars ahead. The Armada might still be dangerous, but she knew humanity's resolve was stronger. "We will continue," she said quietly. "We will protect the innocent, honor the fallen, and rise stronger than ever. They cannot stop us. Not now, not ever."